I have to say, I think my favorite moment in the movie was the reveal that VMAX was nothing.
Dude,
how hard did that hit? How hard did that hit?
That was a really good choice.
I love that.
A really good choice.
Because also VMAX sounds like it's a new super soldier serum, or they derived the X gene from someone. You know, like me going into it as a nerd for this stuff, like I'm guessing ahead of it. And then for the reveal to be like, nope, it's just a label.
Yeah.
You know, like... Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Break Room. It's your two favorite coworkers, Alex Berg and Brian Kim. Today, we're going to talk about some stuff. A lot of you left some comments on last week's vid we'll talk about. We'll get to those too. We want to start off with our gentle roast of the week, which is an informal segment we started a few weeks back and that we will keep going as long as we're getting gentle roasts.
I can't handle anything more than a gentle roast. I will start crying.
The gentle roasts feel very good-natured. There are some roasts that are clearly not meant to be gentle, but that I'm going to frame as gentle. We have a very special guest to read this week's gentle roasts of the week.
Wow.
Daughter, would you like to come over here, please?
Cue applause.
Everybody applaud.
Yeah.
Who better to roast me than my teenage daughter? Here, why don't you sit in my seat?
Okay, yeah.
You sit there for a second. Yeah, I'm going. Okay.
Just
speak into the mic. All right, here are the gentle roasts.
Okay, do I read the username?
Read the username. You don't have to read how long ago they posted.
Okay. Seth Veltman5135 said, I think in episode 1, Berg peaked.
that's
so
I feel like it's a bit meaner than gentle. That was a bit meaner than gentle.
And then Sarah, I don't know how to say her last name. Hatchadorian said, so glad to see the return of hashtag LBB from the baby boy himself.
That's right. The big baby boy, who's 30, by the way. I'm 30, by the way. Legally not a baby. Okay. But thank you so much for reading the roasts.
Thank you, daughter.
Wahoo! Okay. I gotta say, saying that you peaked episode 1 is that's a roast. That's a regular roast.
I don't think Seth meant it as a roast, but kudos to them. I replied and was like, I disagree, but only because I know that I peaked in high school. And they replied back, well, so long as you know you peaked. Which I'm like, yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah.
Most people peak early. I would say I peaked in college. My college is my peak.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
You know, wherever I pin it down, I know it's in the rear view mirror.
Right. We're on the downward trend right now.
It's not ahead of me anymore. I don't have anywhere further to go. A lot of comments this week being mad at me for not having seen Spider-Man before last week. I've seen it now. And again, for those of you who missed out on it, the reason I didn't see it in time for last week's show was because I had told my 9-year-old nephew I would see it with him, Brian shaking his head. I think if you have the opportunity to see a Spider-Man movie with a 9-year-old who's going to be flipping from his seat the whole time, that's how you got to do it.
Oh, Spider-Man is our family. I've been saying this.
Yeah.
You are watching with family.
The Spider folks. So anyways, but I'm now prepared to engage in a fully spoilered discussion of Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Let's freaking do it.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
It felt a lot, it was like within the realm of Marvel movies. It felt pretty like dark, somber, angsty, moody, which I liked, and from the trailers, I had felt like the trailers made me worry that maybe the movie was going to be overstuffed because there were all these like villains and stuff. And really, they were mostly used for that, I thought, really effective montage at the beginning to show how much time has passed.
100%. I for some reason, I can't really pin it down. The Brand New Day montage felt so much cleaner and made more sense than the Fantastic Four montage.
Yeah, I think so too.
In a way that like, this really introduces us to Spider-Man, where it's like, oh, this guy has little quips and doing all these things, but he's also tired and like sad, and like the Peter version of him is just really sad, in a way that's like, it was super engaging. But yeah, for some reason the Fantastic Four one felt kind of like, that felt like it was just tacked on to be like, yep, here's the Fantastic Four. Remember these guys?
I think
the powers.
A big difference to me is that, and I really liked the framing of the montage at the start of First Steps. But it felt like, and they were both covering 4 years in time, you know, but
True.
the Spider-Man Brand New Day opening montage felt a little bit like, we're not trying to do an origin story. We're just showing you that at this point he's established, and these are 4 years of moments that establish him.
Right.
Whereas the montage at the start of Fantastic Four First Steps felt a little bit more like we're trying to cram an origin story that in an earlier era of Marvel would have been its whole movie.
Yeah.
We're trying to cram that into this like opening montage, and it was also covering 4 characters. So it's like,
yeah, that's fair.
you know, you're necessarily getting a little bit less in depth of each one. Also, not for nothing, as an elder millennial, the second that Spider-Man montage started, I'm like, hell yeah, TV on the radio, wolf like me, we're on Return to Cookie Mountain, baby, let's do it, you know, like, which I also thought was a really appropriate song for a movie about, like, you know, him having this darker side that keeps threatening to come out, you know, the werewolf metaphor obviously being well trod in literature, and also I think did well with you know, the Jean Grey of it all. So I saw this movie on a Tuesday afternoon. You saw it like opening weekend.
Yeah.
Was there a big crowd reaction when Sadie Sink's character was revealed in your theater?
Yeah, there when the reveal happened, no.
Yeah, when they revealed her name?
Yeah.
My theater also didn't react.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if that was because I was seeing it later, or if everyone was like, well, if you know Jean Grey, you kind of saw it coming, and if you don't, it doesn't mean anything to you.
And I think we said it on top, but just to make sure, because we're like a week after, this is complete spoilers. Everything is spoiled.
Oh, we're spoiling the crap out of this.
So I think I remember talking to Eric, and he said like it would have been better if they just said she was Jean Grey from the get. I think I disagree. I think I like that it was a mysterious figure, and it was like, what's going on? What's happening? But the reveal that it's Jean Grey wasn't like, whoa, Jean Grey?
Yeah.
I think it's like, oh, it's Jean Grey. Like, I don't think it was meant to be played as like a plot twist. More so like...
Yeah, that was kind of my feeling, is like it was revealed in the movie as if the name Jean Grey would have enough significance that people would go like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. It was just like a page reveal.
Yeah,
Jean.
that was how it felt. It felt like that was what the reaction the movie wanted, and it didn't get it from my theater. I don't think it suffers from not getting that reaction, but it certainly feels like, you know, between the marketing being very like exceedingly coy about who Sadie Sink was playing, even in the face of everybody being like, but she's Jean Grey, right? You know, like I wonder, like, you know, would that, how necessary was that moment? What did that moment buy the movie? What did it buy Marvel as a studio? I mean, just earlier today, as of taping, they're flat out saying she's Jean Grey.
Yes.
Sadie Sink, and we'll get to X-Men casting news in a minute, but Sadie Sink's out there saying she's talked to Jake Schreier, and, you know, so it's the cat's very much out of the bag. But I was curious how different the reaction would have been opening weekend versus just even a couple days later.
No, yeah, I don't. In my theater, pretty packed, and when the reveal happened, there weren't like audible gasps. It was just like, oh, it was Jean Grey. Which, yeah, I mean, the whole marketing of it, like you said, we all clocked it was Jean Grey the first moment the trailer happened. It's like, well, it's got to be Jean Grey.
Yeah, some telepath.
There's
some redheaded telepath.
She's redheaded. It's like it's there's so little that makes sense, and especially because they're trying to ramp into the X-Men saga or the Mutant saga. Like with the setup with the DODC and Wonder Man, like there's so many signs pointing to like mutants and X-Men that it just had to be Jean Grey. And so I found the marketing a bit, it was just more a little fun, like tongue in cheek, like, ooh, who are we gonna be? It's gonna be, is it Jean? And it was Jean, and I think it was a good choice.
You know, a different marketing choice, and I don't know how much of this was a marketing choice and how much of this is just conversations, but prior to the release of Spider-Man Brand New Day, Tom Holland had given an interview talking about how there is a plan for someone else to take on the mantle of Spider-Man,
right,
and for him to kind of pass the torch the way that he felt Downey had passed it to him. And so towards the end of the movie, when Punisher shoots Spider-Man, because I had heard that Tom Holland line, watching it, I was like, oh crap, like Spider-Man might actually die here.
Yeah.
Like that moment really resonated with me much more because of the marketing,
right,
than it would have, I think, if I had just not been as tuned into it going into the movie.
Right.
And so it was interesting comparing those two moments to me, the reveal of Jean Grey and Spider-Man getting shot, how much it's like, oh, in one of these, the marketing kind of didn't help it at all. And in the other, it really helped it quite a bit. I genuinely thought Spider-Man was going to die. I was like, that's crazy, but like, wow, what a swing. And I'm happy that he lived. I really like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I think there's more meat on that bone, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because even if he died, I wouldn't have thought Tom Holland Spider-Man was done for, because like Secret Wars could reboot all that stuff, and he's like backing away. Although they did kind of do that with Endgame and Infinity War, where he like died for a little bit and came back. But you know what? True to Spider-Man, where he just suffers all the time. That's just how it is.
He's Job for the MCU.
Yeah, I want to get into just like actually first, just to like color the entire conversation a little bit. Overall, with this film, how do you rank it? Let's say like S through F.
I think this was A tier. I don't quite put it at S for, only because I think that Spider-Man Homecoming hit so hard the first time I saw that, and this movie, which I think is my favorite since Homecoming of the Spider-Man movies, I think had moments that hit really hard, but the movie made a choice, and I think it executed this choice well. Yeah. I don't mean this as a criticism. The movie made a choice to be a little bit less fun. It's just like a little bit more of a mature take on the burden of being Spider-Man. And Homecoming was so like, like they're playing the Ramones, they're like, we got to worry about prom.
Right.
And this one is like, we got to worry that he's dead.
Stakes are a little different.
Yeah, the stakes are different. And I thought it was really effectively handled. It had a lot of sequences I really love, but it's, if I'm in the mood to go back and watch a Spider-Man movie, I don't think this is going to be the one I put on. I think the one I put on is still going to be Homecoming. That I really don't mean that as a criticism. I just mean because it's a little bit less fun, it's probably one I'm not going to revisit as frequently.
Yeah.
And so that makes it A instead of S for me. But I really liked it. I don't have any like criticism. I'm not like, oh, Ned's glasses ruined it for me. Like Ned would never wear glasses like that. I think it's less fun. And so it's A instead of S for me.
Yeah. I think mostly with you. I would say like A plus area.
For sure. I think it's definitely better than No Way Home and Far From Home. And I really like No Way Home. Far From Home, I'm a little bit like, why'd we go to Europe? But you
have some love.
I also think one of the reasons that I put Homecoming ahead of it in my rankings is I feel very tuned in. Coming into this movie, I feel very tuned into the MCU. In the past 4 months, I've rewatched all the Tom Holland Spider-Mans, Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame. Like I'm, Daredevil, Punisher. Like I'm very up on the continuity of everything. If I wasn't, I think there would be chunks of this movie that made me feel left out as a viewer.
Yeah, 100%.
We got these chairs from Wayfair.
Oh yeah,
they're very comfortable.
They're so comfy.
I'm so pleasantly surprised.
That's what I'm saying.
It's tough to get a chair online without sitting in it first.
Yeah.
These are not the only chairs I've gotten from Wayfair. I also have at my house, I have these egg chairs that are the primo seats.
Egg chairs?
Yeah, they're these like floating.
Mean?
They're like, they have like a arm and a little hook, and they're these big kind of round pods with a big cushion on them.
Yeah.
So they're sort of like rocking chairs.
That's sick.
They're great, but I also got those without sitting in them, and they worked. And I like that Wayfair makes it easy to get comfy stuff that looks good for your house.
100%.
Like it's fantastic.
And it's not only just comfy. I think it looks really good.
I think it looks great.
Specifically, when I was doing the set, I really wanted that blue color to really like complement the little bottle here, complement the blue lights.
Yeah.
And this shade of blue was like, this is perfect. And there's the search menu. You could just filter through colors.
Yeah.
I just went blue and found the one that I wanted. I'm like, that looks great.
Yes.
That looks great.
It's fantastic. I mean, truly my only complaint is that we did not get this rug from Wayfair.
Is it obvious?
And
is it obvious, you guys? Can you tell?
We'll get a new Wayfair rug. But yeah, Wayfair is great. I use it anytime I need furniture, outdoor furniture, indoor furniture. I've also gotten a bunch of like, the shelf I have for my increasing collection of video game consoles next to my TV is from Wayfair. It came quickly. It was really easy to assemble. So I'm in the tank on Wayfair.
And I have a question. Like, if I have various different kinds of styles, like if I wanted to go goth or maybe have a more clean look, can Wayfair do something about that?
Oh yeah. Oh, Wayfair's got everything you need. You want to be moody and goth? Wayfair's got you. You want your whole house to look like a Apple store? You can do that on Wayfair. Why not? Wayfair's got it. So you can find furniture, decor, and essentials that fit whatever style you want or need. Just head to wayfair.com to shop all things home. Wayfair, every style, every home. And now they're gonna sing it. They're gonna go, Wayfair, every style, every home. They're gonna do it right now.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Thank you, Wayfair, for sponsoring the Break Room.
That's what I was gonna say, that it's weird that for me, I find this movie actually to be probably my favorite of the MCU Spider-Man. And maybe just recency bias, I think it's up there with the top of all Spider-Man.
Definitely. Absolutely, yeah.
It's only this good because of the context of the other films.
Yes. Finish your thought.
No. I was basically just going to say that, like, the context of where he came from, his journey, that we saw this, and it's the same Spider-Man, gave this one a lot more weight.
Yes.
And all of that culminated into an experience that I felt was improved. But as a standalone movie, I probably wouldn't say, like you said, if you just went into this Spider-Man without knowing a lot of the MCU, you'll just be like, what is happening? Like, why is he not liking, what's going on with MJ? There's like a memory thing. What's happening here?
Yeah. But I to your point, I do think it's for my criticisms of it as a standalone movie, I think because it's not so standalone, it's a great sequel.
Yes.
It's really, I have a problem with sequels when it's just another fun adventure, because then it's like, well, yeah, that's fine, but it's not really dealing with anything that happened in the previous movie. And in a sense, I feel that sequels that do that kind of invalidate the previous films in the franchise. In Spider-Man Brand New Day, I felt like it was really directly dealing with the emotional aftermath of the memory wipe spell and the new status quo that spell kind of caused. Mm-hmm. And I think that's like great. One of the things that I think makes Last of Us Part 2 work so well as a sequel is it's not just more zombie and misplaced father-daughter dynamics. It's really actively dealing with the lie that Joel told Ellie at the end of the first game.
Right.
And I feel in the same way, Brand New Day is really dealing with the fallout of the end of No Way Home in a way that I think is great.
I think just even Peter's specific character development of like how he is now, like he is like an old man in New York now. He's not like the bright-eyed teenager, and just seeing that evolution, I think, is really fun to see.
It's quit being like this fun thing he's excited to do and become this like burden of responsibility.
No, 100%. And it's really funny too, because my fiance Whitney was, when we were watching it together, she also said like at the end, like, this Spider-Man is like also kind of hot, like way hotter than the previous. Granted, he's coded to be high school, so that's another thing.
This is the Spider-Man that also looks the most like you.
But he's like me.
Yeah. This is the most Brian Kim coded Spider-Man.
I don't even know what that
means. Whitney clearly thought it was hot. There's got to be some deeper emotional resemblance there.
It's because we're both 30-year-old men now. So that's why she can connect.
That's her type.
A 30-year-old man. I finally reached her type. I mean, he's 30 in real life, but I think he's supposed to be around like mid-20s in this universe, because it's after he was supposed to go to college, and it's like 4 years after.
It's been 4 years, yeah.
So he's like probably early 20s.
Yeah.
But he still has that like feeling of like, I've
No,
experienced
he
life.
feels mature beyond his years.
Yeah.
Like this is a Spider-Man that's seen some shit.
Oh yeah.
You know, like sometimes you meet like people who are in their 30s and you're like, did you live with your parents until you were 34? Like what happened? You know, like, and sometimes you meet people who are in their early 20s and they're like, yeah, you know, people die, life moves on. There's not really much you can do about it. You know, you're like, what happened to you? You know, like he's more on that latter end of the spectrum.
Something about getting bruised and beaten and just getting tired.
He is just constantly beat to shit in this movie.
Yeah. And I really, I think it's something that I didn't really consider too much was that the difference between like mask on and mask off Spider-Man, or when he has the mask on, you don't see any bruises. You don't see how damaged he is. So he kind of gets to be all quippy and like fun, and you don't think he's faking it. You think he's taking it all like really easily. But then when he's like out of the picture and like takes his mask off and he's clearly like so tired, that juxtaposition was really nice. I also first gonna mention, man, Tom Holland really worked out for this.
Dude is jacked in this movie. When he's in those juicy, when Tom Holland's in that tight black tank top and that juicy pants, like,
right?
But I mean, he is jacked.
This is the biggest this Spider-Man has been.
Yeah.
In the shirtless scene where he's in just the spa with Yelena.
The potato scene. Yeah.
I was like, wow, he really worked out.
He's jacked. Yeah.
And it's funny because even in lore, it like makes it make sense.
It feels a little bit like instead of this being a thing he's doing, it's the thing he's doing, and that's reflected in his physicality.
Exactly. If only thing you're doing is superhero stuff and training for it, you're gonna get huge.
Yeah.
And he got huge.
He got huge. Yeah.
He got freaking huge.
Yeah.
And speaking of like the Yelena of it all, I think generally this movie did a really good job of making the interconnectivity of the MCU feel really good.
It felt very, I mean this positively, it felt very matter of fact. You know, like, I think part of it is just like, hey, Yelena's here. It's not like a big intro. It's not like this like swooping shot of like Yelena Belova. You know, she just like, she's in a tub. She's like, welcome to my office. They clearly know each other already.
Yeah.
You know, like I thought they did a really good job. You know, even with like the hand and like all that stuff just felt like these are facts of the world.
Yeah. No,
and
100%.
they've been facts for him for a long time.
That's such a good point. That it wasn't like a cameo where it was like, and here's Yelena. Woo!
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, of course he would talk to Yelena. He's a hero in New York. Yelena is part of the Avengers stationed in New York.
Yeah.
They're going to cross paths. Of course he would meet Punisher. They're both stationed in New York. They're going to talk. They're going to do things together. If like a villain requires both of them, they'll interact most definitely.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really liked just the interconnectivity didn't feel shoehorned in. But it also didn't feel like it wasn't like super central to the story, but it was enough that, you know, of course when Peter has trouble with some of the technology he has, he's going to go to Banner, who like, is an expert in genetic mutations, at least in this world. And it felt pretty earned. It wasn't like, oh, this guy, how did you get him?
It honestly reminded me a little bit watching it of it in watching James Gunn's Superman. I'm not nearly as familiar with DC, but that world felt very just like, hey, superheroes are a thing. They exist. They're a part of it. That's this guy's community. It felt the same way in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Difference here being this MCU has had, you know, at this point, over a decade, almost 2 decades of that kind of connectivity. But yeah, I felt like it worked really well. I have to say, I think my favorite moment in the movie was the reveal that VMAX was nothing.
Dude.
How hard did that hit? How hard did that hit?
That was a really good choice.
I love that.
A really good choice.
Because also VMAX sounds like it's a new super soldier serum, or they derived the X gene from someone. You know, like me going into it as a nerd for this stuff, like I'm guessing ahead of it. And then for the reveal to be like, nope, it's just a label.
Yeah.
You know, like
a misread label.
It's so good.
So tragic. And it really, I think for me, makes Jean Grey a very sympathetic character. There's like been discourse, and we kind of talked about it, where like has Jean been too mean in this movie? And I'm like watching. I'm like, no, not at
No,
all.
she's trying to figure out what happened to her sister.
She's trying to figure out what happened to the only person that she loves, the only person that she has connection to. And she knows who took her. She knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And she got this message. And the moment she figured it out, in a fit of pure rage, she let out like a wave of psionic energy, which froze a bunch of people. But like, she doesn't care.
I also didn't think that wave of psionic energy was malicious. You know, like it felt like almost like when a skunk fires off and the whole neighborhood stinks, and you're like, someone pissed off a skunk. You're like, someone pissed off a telepath. You know, but I thought Sadie Sink did great. My wife saw her recently on Broadway in John Proctor as the villain, and said that Sadie Sink's performance like brought the entire room to tears. Wow. And you could really feel her bringing a lot of that, like very, you know, I enjoy Stranger Things, but it's very like kind of popcorn and like genre. And I felt Sadie Sink really brought a very grounded, real take to Jean Grey that I probably wouldn't have noticed if it wasn't there, but really appreciated its inclusion.
And I think different from like the other Jean Grey representations we've had, like in the Fox X-Men movies,
with like Famke Janssen.
Yeah, her Jean Grey was already like, you know, she's talking to the UN, already established, kind of like the perfect female protagonist type of person. A little, maybe not actually. What's the trope?
Like a Mary Sue.
Like a Mary Sue, but not necessarily. But like, and that's why when she gets corrupted by the Phoenix Force is like way more devastating, those things where it's like, she was so good and now she's corrupted and crazy. But like in this version of Jean Grey, she's not perfect. She's just a kid trying to like survive in a world that's out to get her. And in a way that I think is really satisfying.
And I think Jean Grey also can frequently fall into kind of a maternal role within the X-Men, you know, and it was nice to see this kind of like younger, rawer take on Jean.
And both as a story point and like a meta thing, I think works really well because I think X-Men works particularly well with kids because you get to see other kids in an environment where, you know, if they were bullied or whatever, they get to like grow up in a place that celebrates them. And Jean can be one of their ins instead of being like a teacher in this academy or whatever. I'm actually surprised how I think well they portrayed her like young teenage like emotions and rage in a way that like felt satisfying.
Yeah, because her emotions felt very earned. You know, like if your sister, you know, like basically yoinked you out of harm's way and then was killed herself, like that would be so difficult.
Yeah.
And that would be difficult for anybody, for an adult, whatever. But she also managed to infuse the character with this kind of like extra little bit of like, you know, teenage developmental hormonal, you know, kind of rage to it, which is like, yes, that would be difficult for anybody. And especially if you didn't have the emotional maturity just by dint of not being old enough and not, you know, worldly enough to really contextualize that, it would be extra difficult, you know? And I thought she did a really great job conveying that.
Yeah. Also, just this is like a little bit of a fun fact. Did you know that the actor or the actress playing her sister is 16?
Really?
Yeah.
So just an actual teen?
Yeah, that's like an actual teenager, but also 16, and she's supposed to play Jean's older sister. I'm like, whoa. And also I will say kudos to everybody involved, either makeup and their acting. She did feel like an older sister.
Yeah, she did, yeah.
And Sadie did feel younger. I'm like, dang, Sadie, I guess, has that much of a baby face that she can play like a young teen.
If you told me Sadie Sink was 14, I'd be like, yeah, you know, like I mean, you know, part of it too is just meeting her via Stranger Things.
That's true.
In the same way that like, you know, there's certain actors where it's like Daphne Keane, I will never be an adult in my eyes. And that's not Daphne Keane's fault. It's just because the first time I met her was in Logan.
Yeah.
You know, so anytime she shows up, I'm going to be like, there's that child again, you know?
Yeah, good casting work. Sadie brings that like top tier acting while still looking like a teenager.
Yeah.
So I think that fit really well. I think Jean Grey ultimately a good antagonist in this film.
I also
think it really
like
pushed
that,
the story really well.
Big picture, Worm's eye view, just looking at it within the context of Spider-Man Brand New Day, Sadie Sink's performance is just a great take on Jean Grey. She's a great villain. Bird's eye view for Marvel introducing the X-Men saga, and we'll get into casting news momentarily. Jean Grey being a flat-out villain here, albeit one who has her reasons, but every emotionally shaded villain does. Jean Grey being introduced as a flat-out villain really does kind of call into question, like, well, hey, maybe I don't know which mutants are going to be good and bad anymore.
Oh, sure.
You know, I think that was a really smart choice of Marvel to be like, yeah, she made the Hulk out. She's not good.
Yeah.
I
mean, she did also make that construction worker get run over by a taxi. That did happen.
Man. Yeah. She's just totally willing to have a custodian blow up in a tank. And so I think introducing Jean Grey as a villain, again, albeit one with a very understandable and emotional justification for doing what she's doing, it does make me go like, was Wolverine going to be a villain now in this next mutant saga? Is Charles going to be a villain? A straight up villain, Charles Xavier, would be wild, and so I'm happy to see for whatever Marvel does wind up doing with the mutant saga. I think introducing Jean Grey as a villain was just a really fun choice that I think will throw me just off kilter enough for the movies that come to kind of drop my preconceived notions at the door.
Yeah. And another thing that I saw people talking about online that I totally agree with is the fact that, I was like, I lost the thought and I kept talking to see if it would come back.
I know that. It's like when you trip on a sidewalk and you're like, surely if I keep running forward, I'll right myself eventually.
Which sometimes you do.
My center of gravity will go under my skull so I don't just face plant here. Yeah.
Okay. Jean Grey. It's about Jean Grey.
We're talking about Jean Grey being a villain.
in X-Men.
Is she too evil? Sadie Sink's a good actress. Little baby boy Brian's your name.
Little baby boy Brian.
You want to circle back?
I got it. So what I saw people talking about this online, and I think in the MCU currently, this has been maybe the best representation on how mutants could be villainized is also what I really enjoy about it. The fact that Sadie Sink or Jean Grey was set as the villain made the context like, mutants are dangerous in this world. And they should be kept in check. I mean, even Spider-Man's decision to make the universal, inhibitor was because Jean Grey was going too crazy with her powers and getting innocent people hurt.
Yeah.
And especially in the context of New York, where they've been constantly brutalized by superpowered things for years now.
I mean, even in the tour where it's like, you can barely tell, but this whole street was destroyed in the Battle of New York. And then just,
like the fact that all these superpowered things happening in New York, the Battle of New York, the Sentry.
All the Void stuff.
Void stuff.
Don't forget about the events of Daredevil Born Again, where there was a ship in the river.
Also, that too. Not really superpowered. But
still a problem.
Still a problem. That it now has more reasoning as to why people have general mistrust on new superpowered individuals.
Yeah, for sure.
Like Spider-Man has worked 4 years to establish his reputation in a way that like not everybody loves him. But new powers people are really wary of it. Because it was always a question for me and others that's like, wait, are you telling me in a world where superpowered individuals exist and mutants exist? Why is there a distinction?
Yeah, the average dude on the street's not going to be like, hang on, that's a mutant. It's different.
Yeah, that's specifically a gene, and that one is powered by cosmic radiation.
Yeah.
There's a difference. No, they're all scary. It's all scary. So that it makes more sense why people are like, hey, man, I lived through New York through so many tragic moments. I want to be protected.
Yeah.
Please, stop the superpowers from happening.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
And I think it'll set up the mutant saga really well.
At the risk of TMI, I am a sweaty sleeper, and without miracle sheets, my bed would be disgusting.
I don't want to hear it. That's too much information.
That's too much.
I don't like it.
Before getting Miracle Sheets, and I got Miracle Sheets because we had done a bit with them on New Rockstars a while back. And I was like, yeah, I needed new sheets anyways. May as well try them out, use the code. I swear by them now. They're great. They have this like NASA inspired like, technology that helps kind of like keep the temperature right.
Okay.
And like they're not electric or anything. They're just sheets. They're very comfortable on your skin, first off. That's critical. But I also I'm never sweaty anymore.
That's actually crazy. This whole last month
has
month's
been
so hot.
brutal.
It's been so hot.
Yes.
I've just been soaking in my sweat. And I'm like, I guess this is how I live. There's no other option for me.
Yes.
But in fact, there is an option.
Yes. And the same like technology that kind of helps them keep cool is also antibacterial. So it's like, I wash my sheets pretty regularly just as a matter of course, because why not? But like every once in a while, you get busy, you forget, and like you get into your bed and it's like, ugh. Like I get that. It takes a lot longer to get to that with Miracle Made sheets. Yeah. And I'll say this, they're as comfy as hotel sheets. Okay. Like it has been for years, it has been a thing for me where it's like no bed's as comfy as a hotel bed, but now I got the comfy hotel bed at home.
Dude, I need a Miracle Sheet.
You really
I need
do.
one right now.
You really do. We have a pack of them.
We have one?
Do you have a queen size bed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the heck? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
All yours.
All right. Okay. I'll be
You're
the
gonna
next
come
person.
back next week.
I'll be the next person.
I'll tell you this. You're going to come back next week and you're going to be singing the song I'm singing now about how great Miracle Sheets are.
I believe it. I believe it.
Upgrade your sleep or give the gift of better rest. Simply go to trymiracle.com/breakroom to try Miracle Made Sheets today. You'll save over 40%. And when you use promo code Breakroom, you'll get an extra 20% off plus a 3-piece free towel set. The towels are also dope.
Okay.
Towels are one, they give you a little, this is a stupid thing to have be a favorite. They make my favorite washcloth. I didn't know.
Okay.
I didn't know washcloths could be different and better.
That's what I'm saying.
My favorite one's from Miracle Made. But they make an amazing gift and they have a 30-day money-back guarantee. There's no risk. So again, that's trymiracle.com/breakroom. Use code BREAKROOM at checkout. And thanks to Miracle Made for sponsoring this episode. Should we talk about the post-credit scene?
Yeah, okay. Let's do it.
In as much as it was. So, the post-credit scene, Ned's Spidey tracker app basically going, and Spider-Man's not on Earth.
Yeah, it's
in outer space. It really feels like it's going to be Battle World, and we're going to see him again in Secret Wars.
Yeah, either Battle World or like it's one of those incursion things. It's another Spider-Man mayhaps.
Yeah, I mean, my theater, and again, so I went and saw this movie in the afternoon at a matinee with my father, who has been into Spider-Man since like 1968.
Mm-hmm.
Like he started reading Spider-Man when he was in high school. And my nephew, who is 9, who is just into Spider-Man, I think without even, I couldn't even figure out, it's talking to 9-year-olds is interesting.
Sure.
Because my 9-year-old nephew clearly likes Spider-Man, but when you ask him why or what his favorite Spider-Man movie is, he doesn't know. He hasn't seen any of the movies.
Yeah.
I think it might literally just be Spider-Man's in Fortnite, and that's cool.
I'm just generally, it is kind of like when you're a kid, you're like, I just like ninjas because swords or whatever.
Dude. Yes.
Spider-Man's cool because spider webs.
So this kid, my nephew, who I went and saw the movie with, also really likes ninjas to the point where he snuck out of his house.
Well,
like 2 or 3 years ago. He was like 6 or 7, snuck out of his house in DC, went across the park down to a music venue. My sister and my brother-in-law were like freaking out trying to find him. The cops are driving around looking for him because they got calls from a music venue 3 miles away that a little blonde boy was running around hiding behind cars, snuck past back all the cops and back into his bed.
Wow, wait.
Yeah.
Actual ninja.
And then was pretending to sleep.
And I was here the whole time.
Yeah, and then when the cops, and then so my brother-in-law called my sister, was like, hey, he's
so
back home, he's
funny.
pretending to be asleep.
That's
Cops
so
came home,
funny.
read him the riot act, and my sister said the scary thing was he didn't look like he was in trouble. He looked like he was energized because now he's like, I snuck past a ton of cops.
Dude, no.
Yeah.
Oh God, this is a problem.
Yes, this is the kid I saw Spider-Man with. But it's just it's just so funny. But I mean, watching the post-credit sequence with my nephew, who certainly has no clue what Battle World is.
Yeah.
and my father, who also has no clue, there was this sense of like, okay,
No, yeah, like,
you know, like
yeah.
it was a very enigmatic post-credit scene, which I don't mind.
Yeah.
You know, I think my favorite post-credit scenes got to be the shawarma at the end of Avengers.
That's so good.
And then is it at the end of Homecoming when it's the Captain America PSA about like patience doesn't always pay off. You know, like I like the ones that are jokes, you know, like, and this one felt very enigmatic. So I'm curious what the reaction was in your theater when it happened.
There was also no like super hard reaction.
Yeah.
And it's funny because this is one of those things where as a post-credit scene, all it's really doing is like setting up Spider-Man to come back in some kind of intergalactic thing, whether it's Tom Holland in Battleworld or another Spider-Man coming in from a different universe that someone spotted. And that's how it should be. It just should be that. But just because this is a world with canon and lore, it is like, you know, wait, so the spider tracker only works if you see Spider-Man and you clock it.
So who's on the moon?
So someone's on the moon and also has the app and also has access to Wi-Fi.
Yeah. It's like one of those like things like Google Maps started doing where when you're driving, they're like, is there still an object in the road? And you're like, don't distract me. I'm dodging the object. You know, like there's no way to shut it off.
So, you know, some of these aspects you do have to turn off parts of your brain where you're like, okay, so it's not that part. But I'm excited to see whatever happens to Spider-Man after. But actually, kind of speaking on the whole like lore canon of it all, it is one of these things where I think in the movie, watching the movie, the specific interconnectivity at all and like how clean it is doesn't really matter. I said this last week, where it's like, honestly, while watching the movie, I actually don't care how it made sense that the Hand is this ninja group rather than like a criminal organization. Like it was set up in Daredevil, because it was cool to see Spider-Man fight ninjas.
That fight with the Hand in the prison was so, when they're like jumping up and she's like ping-ponging off their bat, it was like awesome. It was so cool.
It's so cool. The coolness factor outweighed the like, wait, so how exactly is this the MCU Hand? Because in the movie, it's really enjoyable. I think what happens with this continuity mismatch though, is after the movie, when you think about it, it starts to like, eat away at it a little bit. Where, when you think about the interconnectivity of it all, it makes you wonder even more like, okay, so where's the Defenders? Where is Daredevil? Like clearly there's a whole relationship built with Punisher and Spider-Man. But that's almost impossible to do without Daredevil somehow being in the picture.
You know what I would have appreciated? I didn't feel this while watching the movie, but you talking about this, I would have appreciated a Daredevil Spidey team up like slow-mo splash sequence in that opening montage. Yeah. That would have been plenty, you know, like, but it is like, okay, so you're fighting Tombstone, but not Kingpin. You know?
Exactly. So Kingpin.
I mean, I know legally Kingpin can't be in the movies, but like it did feel like an omission.
This is supposed to be like years after, maybe, because Kingpin is no longer mayor as seen when he gets to the key to the city. It's not Kingpin giving him the keys, and so this is happening, like the timelines are all messed up, and I guess by this time the Hand, maybe they regroup to be more specifically ninja.
We're giving up our life of crime. We're just ninjas now.
We're just regular ninjas.
We're just, hey, look, we really tried running drugs, we tried shaking people down for protection money. We decided we got into this because we had a passion for being a sick group of ninjas, and we're going to return to our roots and continue being a sick group of ninjas.
Yeah.
You know, well, that's what we're good at. That's what we're going to focus on. We expanded too fast.
It's true. It's true. And they were a sick group of ninjas.
They're a sick group of ninjas. They're great at being ninjas.
But yeah, it is like, it's the give and take of like, in the moment it's enjoyable, but after, when the high comes down, you have to think about it. You are like, you know, it is unfortunate that we couldn't see it all interconnect. Yeah. But again, it is what it is.
Yeah, overall, I really liked it. I mean, any of my complaints with it are very much nitpicks. Again, I really genuinely was worried Spider-Man was going to die at the end.
Yeah.
And for a movie that has Spider-Man in the title to make me think that guy might die is a testament to the filmmaking.
Yeah,
you know, like
100%.
I thought that was really well done. And I really liked his relationship with Punisher. Like,
yeah, it's so older brother, younger brother coded. It's really fun.
I mean, I'm watching the clock because I forget to do that, and I need to be mindful of like where we are in the show. So I'm not trying to like overextend the Spider-Man conversation, but I also really loved the way they handled the MJ of it all.
Yes.
With her being like, I don't have those memories.
Yes.
I'm not that MJ, which is like heartbroken, but so much more satisfying than like, you're right, we are in love. Which I thought, Jean Grey kind of mocking him with that was also really good. So that's, I think when I talk about like, when earlier you were asking what's my ranking of it, and I'm like, well, it's just like a little bit less fun. It is a little bit less fun, but that lack of fun and games is kind of necessary in order to make these more like less black and white, more kind of gray area emotional moments hit as hard as they do.
Yeah.
And I think after, a decade after meeting Tom Holland as Spider-Man, I'm ready for that kind of storytelling with this character involved. And I thought this movie did that really well.
I think speaking on the MJ of it all too, what I really enjoyed about that whole relationship, other than it was more realistic to be like, hey man, this version of MJ may have loved you, but I don't because I don't know you. Not only was it realistic, but I really like it as a very clear consequence of Peter's decision to go solo, to do everything by himself. Like he wanted to pull back and protect MJ and Ned. And the result of that is that he is now alienated from them.
Yeah.
If he decided to honor their initial promise of finding them and telling them immediately, there was a world where they could have rebuilt this relationship together.
They could have spent 4 years,
they're
relearning
relearning. Look, listen, high school is just 4 years. And they only built their relationship in like 2.
Yeah.
So there was an opportunity to start again. But because, I think this is like the lesson of like, if you want to be the sacrificial guy and try to protect people, the result is the people you love aren't going to care about you because they don't know you.
Yeah.
And,
hey, you got to open yourself up and be vulnerable if you want that love. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You can't just
I'm telling
love
you,
one way.
Brian, open yourself up and accept all this love.
I don't want
open it up, man.
Street.
I'm tired of you going solo. I'm gonna love you, big guy.
I'm
gonna love you.
I hate vulnerability.
You'll see.
Wait, I mean, Spider-Man was so cool when he was by himself.
What would you rather have? Would you rather have gentle and vicious roasts every week, or sincere affirmations from me? What's more difficult to deal with?
Oh God, you're right.
Yeah.
It might be sincere words of affirmation.
Okay, all right. So we'll have our gentle, sincere words of affirmation of the week.
Please,
next week.
I can hand wave away roasts, but a sincere affirmation. I'm like,
if someone tells you they like something about your personality, it's like, shut up, get the fuck out of here.
I don't supposed to do with that.
I hate myself. Be gone.
Exactly. I know we're like running low on time, but just because Spider-Man still is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
A little bit. One more thing. How do you feel about how they handled Bruce Banner and the Hulk? I only asked this because I'm a little mixed on it, because of course I love Savage Hulk as a concept. Hulk is one of my favorite superheroes. And I really liked seeing him in this movie fighting with Spider-Man. It was a whole lot of fun. But as a character, Bruce Banner in Endgame did this whole thing where he was finally merged together and was like, oh, we are together and we found the middle ground where we can be brawn and brains.
It felt like he was in control of it.
And honestly, I even would say I felt that it was supposed to be a synthesis. But in this movie where he got rid of his band, he was like freaking out. Like, did I get lose control? What happened? Like, and so I was like, oh my God, is he afraid of his savage side again? Like, how did that happen?
Well, I'll say this as someone with, severe and persistent mental health issues.
Sure.
Man, you got good years and you got bad years.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know what I mean? Like, so the way I
Yeah.
interpreted that was like, yeah, hey man, during the good years when like, ooh, baby, when you get your cocktail of meds all lined up and you're in a
Sure.
healthy place and your insurance covers therapy and you're not spending 6 hours a week on the phone with Kaiser, you know, like, you know, then you have more bandwidth to handle that stuff.
Yeah.
And then in years where you don't, you maybe need a little bit more help. And so I kind of interpreted his inhibitor that he had built himself as like a backstop for the rough times.
Sure, like when it gets rough and I am not in control.
Yeah,
they'll have
because
something.
that's very human. Realistically, I think it was like a plot device.
Yeah.
You know, like I think it was a MacGuffin. I think it was well used. You know, but ultimately I think it wasn't necessary because really that Hulk's inhibitor became a way for Tom Holland's character to develop his inhibitor to develop the universal inhibitor, which is clearly going to be used like in Sentinels and stuff in the X-Men saga, which starts shooting next year. We just found out this morning. You know, but I kind of appreciate it for it's like, you know what? If I have a bad day, I probably owe a lot of people a heartfelt apology after like some like texts that were like heartily fired off.
Yeah.
If Hulk has a bad day, it's a lot worse. You might, you know, you want layers of defense for that one. You know, like you want like you want to have like the ability to have like some mental control and like techniques for dissipating anger, like in the moment, keeping yourself out of anxiety. That's structural. And then as a backstop, yeah, you want that like kind of chemical technological layer. So that was kind of how I read into it.
I think that's fair. You know what? You're right. It's a little not as complex if you're just like and then I solved my mental illness. I'm done. It's over.
Yeah. And the good news is therapy worked and I don't have to deal with it anymore. You know, it's like,
but yeah, it's a constant.
Because that's such the and again, like, you know, it took me a long time to get into therapy, and which my gosh, in hindsight, too long. But it's because when I was a kid and you see these depictions of like mental health and how therapy works in media, you get the impression that like you go to therapy and then one day you wake up and you're like, and it turns out it's all because on my 8th birthday, my mother didn't give me a gift that was wrapped with ribbon. It was just wrapped with paper. Now I'm solved, you know, and it's like, that's not how it works. It's a process. There is no product. It's all process. But so I was like, yeah, it's a process, and the process changes as you age, like, you know, whatever it is. So that was kind of my take on Hulk, as someone with, you know, with the issues. I'm twisted.
Your dark, twisted mind.
I'm sick in the
head. You don't know what's going on in there.
I'm sick in the head.
Guys, you don't want to know. One more shout out is I just want to shout out every actor who played Possessed by Jean.
Oh, that was great.
They were so good.
So great.
In a way that like I really bought that Jean was possessing all these people.
And also I really love that instead of having like a CGI, like their eyes glow blue, you know, or something, that they got a choreographer in there.
Oh yeah.
To have like, you know, like have like that stuff, I thought was such a great way of doing it practically and visually.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was like such a great choice. You know, I really, all the Jean Grey stuff, I loved, you know. And also like, seems like they're very much leaning on her being like a telepath and not telekinetic.
Yeah.
Which is not a distinction that's always made with like mind powers, you know. I wonder, it seems like kind of at the end when she's in that torture room that killed her sister, that maybe her powers kind of leveled up a bit.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
she was holding the glass and stuff.
Yeah, like, so it seems like maybe she will have more of the telekinetic abilities now, but certainly for the first chunk of the movie, it felt like they were very much like, no. She goes into people's brains. Mm-hmm. That's her thing. And now, because of the DODC fucking with her, she's leveling up.
There was this one tweet I saw where people were like, hey, if you wanted the twist that the DODC were actually evil to like land, I don't know if you should have hired Tramell Tillman, who like clearly is that like archetype of like, looks like he's supposed to be on your side, but is actually not.
Yeah.
But I think it worked really well because I think it was more of dramatic irony than an actual twist. Where I think we as the audience was like, oh, this guy can't be trusted.
I think something that worked really well, and this is part of what fed into the VMAX moment for me, is, the whole movie, like anytime Spider-Man's like, what's VMAX? He's like, you're the second person to ask me about it. I don't know. You're like, that guy's lying.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, he actually didn't know. Oh, but he was lying about this, and it was the same tone. Now I don't know what to believe. Which I love. Let's move on from here just because we've got about 20 minutes left by my estimation.
I think you're right.
And I want to talk a little bit about, we're getting some X-Men casting news. Kit Connors of Heartstopper fame is being cast as Cyclops. Samara Weaving from Ready or Not 2 as Emma Frost. Sadie Sink's been in conversation with Jake Schreier and says the movie's about to start shooting, would you say later this year or early next year?
I think so. Yeah.
But then in parallel to this, we also got news earlier today that X-Men 97 seasons 3 and 4 are going to be coming out in 2027 and 2028. And so something that's really interesting to me is, to my memory, aside from What If, which is just what if, again, I don't think Marvel Zombies quite counts in the same way, but Marvel's going all in on the mutant saga. That's clearly sort of the next big era of Marvel. I'm really excited for it. I'm so curious what the impact is going to be of having two totally separate and distinct continuities running simultaneously with X-Men 97 and then whatever's happening cinematically. My hope is that X-Men 97, which I love and continues to kick ass, my hope is that X-Men 97 will be kind of a way for people to get way deep into X-Men lore real quick. And will become a place where Marvel can kind of go like, what are the fan favorite characters? What are the characters people want to see more of? What are the storylines people are really responding to? What are ways in which those storylines worked in the medium of animation that can be ported over to that X-Men 97, in addition to being a very good show into and of itself, also becomes kind of a fun playground to test out ways that powers can work and combine that we can then see cinematically. But my fear is that X-Men 97 and the cinematic mutant saga will wind up kind of cannibalizing one another. That's a very minor fear for me. That's not something I'm too worried about because X-Men 97 is its own thing.
Yeah, I think so.
It's so much easier to do. Gina pointed this out, one of her breakdowns, or maybe just around the office, but it's so much easier to have a cameo fest in something animated because you can just draw someone in the background of a shot. You don't have to pay that actor, sign a contract. So I think X-Men 97 can get away a little bit more with that like really expanded mutant universe.
Yes.
And I think just by dint of being a different medium, to have something on film, you're necessarily going to have to limit the scope a little bit more. But I'm curious what your thoughts are post Spider-Man Brand New Day and post some of this casting news. And I assume we'll have more by the time this comes out. Certainly seems like we're going to get more at D23 next weekend. But I'm curious what your thoughts are on how it feels the shape of the mutant saga is coming, admittedly very early days.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is great because mutants are going to be in front of mind, and just to feed people a bunch of different kind of mutant things is great. I mean, just generally speaking, X-Men 97 is awesome. So getting more of that is going to be awesome. And I think they are different enough that it'll be like, if you want a mutant story that more directly aligns with the comic lines and showcases the powers in a specific way, X-Men 97 is for you.
Yeah.
Where it's more directly getting things from the comics. Where a completely new take is, we see the X-Men characters in a completely new way, is how I think the X-Men saga is going to go, or the mutant saga.
Well, I mean, even just with Jean Grey, right?
Exactly.
Like, the Jean Grey that we have currently in X-Men 97 is great, but is so different in look, feel, tone, costume,
100%.
power set even,
100%.
from what Sadie Sink is doing in Brand New Day. And that's fun. I like having those options. I'm not at all worried about people being confused continuity wise.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't think this is a very small worry, not a real worry. Because I think the people who watch live action far outweigh the people who watch the animated series.
I agree.
But there could be a sect of people, because the way that the animated series shows the powers in such cool ways, we're like, oh my God, these powers are so cool. That's awesome. There might be an effect where when you watch the powers happen in the movies, if they don't match that amount of creativity, it could be like, it's not as cool. I see Cyclops going crazy mode in the animated series, but if in the movie he's going pew 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 pew, it might not be as fun. I'm not too worried, because I think the way they did Jean Grey was actually quite interesting and quite fun to watch, even though it wasn't like the animated like blue lights and power things. It was still really cool and engaging.
Well, I think what it comes down to for me is like the way that X-Men 97 chooses to illustrate everybody's powers works great for animation.
Yeah.
You know, like just in the most recent episode when, spoiler alert, a character, Gambit, becomes Death.
Yes.
You know, and he's still got his bow staff, but now it's got like that purple sickle of energy with like the death energy or whatever. Or, you know, when Charles invades Gambit's mind to like fight out him in Apocalypse, it's like, you know, like that stuff is something that works great in animation. But if you're gonna do it on a movie, to do it the same way, you'd have to do it with a lot of CGI, and it might wind up looking a little bit like parts of Quantumania did, you know? Right. So whereas choosing to represent Jean's telepathic jumping with that like choreographed, like, you know, kind of physicality, that works really great in a movie. If you tried to animate that, it would look like trash.
Yeah.
It would just look like you poorly animated it, you know? So I think my hope is that, boy, we have these two very different mediums in which we can explore these characters and what they're capable of in their storylines. I really hope that Jake Schreier chooses to use the medium of film, its limitations and its strengths, to do it in a very filmic way, while X-Men 97 continues to do it in a very animatic way.
And I think I trust that it'll work out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also want to talk about, we got some other casting news. So we're getting some more news on the Zelda movie.
Yes.
Which we're about a year out from, I believe. We found out that Ganondorf will be played by Yuli Latukefu, or Latukefu. Deacon Lockman of Severance fame will be Impa, which is really interesting casting to me.
Dude.
And then Sam Neill. And so Sam Neill is in an unspecified role, and it seems like it's going to be his final role because he's currently dead, so he's probably not going to get much work from here on out. Sam Neill, at least to me, seems like by far the biggest name involved with this movie so far. And I'm like, oh, what do you do for an actor with that much recognition? Like, do you make him like the Great Deku Tree? Like what? You know what I mean? Like, think how great it would be if like Sam Neill was the Great Deku Tree, you know, like, or like, you know, like the Chief Goron or something like that. You know, like he's got to be someone who has, I hope he's a good guy. But he's got to be someone that really has like that kind of weight, heft, you know, almost like you want him to be like the Gandalf of Hyrule, you know?
It's really gonna depend on like what kind of Zelda story they're going to take inspiration from, whether if it's like classic or, you know, Ocarina of Time storylines, or like the Link to the Past type of storylines, or Breath of the Wild storylines.
I feel like it's got to be, I mean, he could be playing Zelda's father.
That was kind of what I was thinking too. You know? Just like if this is a more focus on like Link and Zelda and like a Breath of the Wild type thing, where there's like the clear, it's a clearer royal hierarchy stuff. He could be the king of Hyrule.
Yeah.
Which that might be the case.
I mean, it's also so interesting because, you know, Nintendo has always been so continuity agnostic with their Zelda games. Yeah. Like in a way that I love. I think they're always like, I don't know, he's on a boat. He's on a boat this time, you know,
there's a
like,
bunch of water.
Whatever, go build a robot. It's Zonai. You know, like they they don't care in a way that I think really works for the games. But it also makes, this kind of speculation that I have fun engaging in, kind of baseless.
Yeah.
I'm really just grabbing at straws here, like he could just as easily be one of the 4 champions from Breath of the Wild,
Sure.
Like we don't know what era, are we telling the story of like the downfall of Hyrule and the calamity and
right.
like, where does Zelda come into all that?
Right.
So I don't know. And the actor who's playing Ganondorf is also kind of an unknown quantity to me, which is fun because it means like, well, I don't know which Ganondorf we're getting then,
right.
like I bet he's gonna have the little pig tusks, but yeah, so I'm pretty stoked on hearing that Sam Neill's there.
Yeah,
I just don't know what it means.
It's like, and honestly, at least for me, I think the what was the actress's name from Severance?
Deacon Lockman.
I think her being cast as Impa is low key super inspired. I was like, wait, she
because it's
totally
got to be young
works.
Impa, right? Like,
yeah,
and she has that kind of elfish look.
No,
already.
100%.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Put some pointy ears on her. You got to still going.
That's Impa. That's freaking Impa. I'm like, you know what? I like that casting. It's so funny. Like, we like know almost nothing about the movie.
No,
other than
I mean,
it's happening.
Okay, here's my pitch for the plot of the Zelda movie.
Do it.
Link and Zelda are out running around the forests of Hyrule. They're collecting apples and they're collecting birds' eggs.
Okay.
So that they can go make some kind of, and then the movie is just like 3 hours of and they're just cooking. I think if the Zelda movie is just 2 hours of them cooking and the cooking music, we'll all be thrilled. Maybe at one point there's a blood moon.
Right,
but,
right.
I think if it's just 2 hours of cooking, I'll be thrilled.
My favorite part of Breath of the Wild is the cooking.
Dude, so I played through Breath of the Wild when it came out, and then during pandemic at some point my wife hadn't played it and we were looking for something to play. I was like, we should play Breath of the Wild. It's really great. We wound up with this hilarious division of labor where there's certain things that we would both do together. Like if we're going to do one of the big dungeons,
right.
Like one of the Divine Beast dungeons, or we're going to go fight a big boss or something, we both got to be there for that. But, if you just want to hunt or you just want to cook, that's great. And my wife loved the cooking in the game. So when she wasn't around and I wanted to play, I would go like up north, like to that like snowy area by I can't remember the name of the bird village off the top of my head.
Redo Village.
What's that?
Redo?
Yes, Redo Village. Yeah. Thank you. I would go into the snowy wilds up there and just hunt so much. And then I'd send her a text, be like, there's a bunch of meat. And she'd be like, oh yeah.
That's like, so funny.
I'd go get that. And then I'd go get a bunch of the durians from the jungle that give you the extra hearts or whatever. And then she would just spend she'd be like fried from work. And she would just spend like an hour after I went to bed just cooking, and occasionally you get like the like super cooked food trill. She'd be like, yes, and we,
so
between the two of us, we put 200 hours into that game. 150 of those hours have nothing to do.
And hunting.
Yeah. And then her thing was she would get frustrated with the shrines. She would find them and she'd just mark them on maps.
Oh, funny.
And then I would come in and just knock them out one after the other and then upgrade our stamina wheel and stuff.
Yeah.
It was great. It was fantastic. I'd come back and be like, oh, good. Someone did the pain in the ass exploration and finding these things for me. Now I could just go do the puzzles. And she'd be like, I don't want to touch these puzzles with a 10-foot pole. She would just go hunt Lionels. Yeah,
that's
it was
great.
Synergy. Fantastic. Yeah.
Incredible.
Okay. We should start wrapping things up.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's see what else. Oh, real quick. Have you seen the trailer for Run, Hide, Fight Infidels? Just touch on it just briefly as a parting shot.
Just because it's an interesting thing that's happening.
For context, the trailer for Run, Hide, Fight Infidels it's a trailer for a Jonathan Majors movie from Daily Wire, which is conservative icon Ben Shapiro's Hollywood production company.
Yeah.
It's an action movie about a small liberal arts college that's invaded by radical Islamic terrorists. And Jonathan Majors has to help him get out with the power of the Second Amendment.
It's so crazy because it's it's like a parody. Watching the trailer was like, this is a parody of a movie.
It does feel like, it feels like a left-wing comic YouTube channel was like, we're going to make a movie that the right wing would probably love. Only it's a sincere right wing presentation.
There's just like the one of the lines that we talked about it before. It was like, he's unlike those protesters.
He's the opposite of those lame brain protesters, those boneheaded protesters or something.
And it's like this is not like even as propaganda. I think this is so bad.
It's pretty sloppy propaganda.
That's what I'm saying. It's like so clear.
Slopaganda.
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 Yeah. This is slopaganda in your face because you could have made like an entire movie like that, but the metaphor, you can make the metaphor Islamic terrorism or whatever, and it still would have been propaganda, but not so over the top liberal arts college where they clearly don't care about the right-wing ideologies.
Arguably every John Wick movie, and I love the John Wick movies, is propaganda for guns.
I'm saying,
it's just like, man, if there was one guy in here who was really good with guns,
he could save the world with just guns. And those kind of things also work as movies. I think other than it being, in my opinion, quite a silly movie, and it's a little bit like Jonathan Majors, like, this is the way you wanted to make a comeback.
Yeah.
This movie is how you wanted to make a comeback. I understand that you studied acting and you really wanted to come back to the acting world.
Jonathan Majors' performance in the trailer is actually pretty good. Right. I can't even be like, and Jonathan Majors sucks. I'm like, no, that's like he's clearly bringing his A game to run, hide, fight infidels.
And here's the other thing is that honestly, in my opinion, that Jonathan Majors is good enough at acting, at his craft, that if he waited a little bit, if he decided to take smaller roles with indie directors who were willing to give him a second chance, a genuine comeback probably would have happened. It just probably would have happened.
Hollywood has no problem working with problematic people.
100%.
I mean, like the fact that the Jared Leto stuff is just now like being an issue, and it's like, people, he's been an issue for, not only has he been an issue for years, he sucks.
Yeah. And it's been known, and he's been getting work constantly.
Like even if the only thing he did was when he was shooting Suicide Squad, sending used condoms to his castmates, it's like, this guy's kind of an issue. We put Winona Ryder in the icebox because she was shoplifting.
Yeah.
But if you're a dude, you get a pass. So like, it's very funny.
So yeah, it's unfortunate that whether or not you believe Jonathan Majors deserves a path to redemption would have been there, in my opinion. But I think this really solidifies, like, okay, he's not.
No, I don't know. He's gone full Seagal.
He's gone full. Yeah, it's just not gonna happen. Which is, unfortunate.
Well, okay, let's call it there. So this is going to air on the 11th.
I believe so. Yeah.
Between this and the episode following this, we'll have D23.
Yeah.
So we'll have big D23 news.
Yeah.
And it certainly seems like that there's going to be some more X-Men news, given that Marvel's already kind of dribbling it out now that they're not being coy about Sadie Sink anymore. So if you want to tune in while D23 is happening, Eric's going to be down there. We're going to be live streaming. I won't be there, but we'll be live streaming on the new Rockstars channel Friday night, late. So tune in for that. If you don't care about getting it live and you just want to be here for afterwards for the summary of it, that's probably going to be the main focus of next week's episode here, unless it's a big nothing burger, in which case we'll be like, okay, well,
we'll just talk about something else.
And X-Men 97's finale will be between now and next week. So we'll be able to get into that. So big stuff coming up next week on the Break Room. But thank you guys so much for watching here and now. If you're not already following us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Breakroom NR, I believe on TikTok it's Breakroom Official.
I think it's the Breakroom Official. I gotta double check, you guys.
Well, Brian in post, just put it on the bottom of the screen. And please keep up the comments. I was, especially after last week's Hank Green conversation.
Yeah,
I continue to be surprised and impressed by our commenters for just having thoughtful conversations about AI and about the Hank Green situation of it all. And I really love when people ask me for book recommendations and stuff. Yeah. So please keep that going. If you want to support this channel directly, we've been too busy with Comic-Con and Spider-Man Brand New Day to really get off our duffs and sort out the Breakroom specific merchandising. But nerdriot.shop has Spider-Man, Doomsday, X-Men 97 merch. Go and pick up a t-shirt. Tag us on socials if you already have one. It's one of the best ways to support the channel. That's nerdriot.shop. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.